I don't know if say the agenda by Chelsea supporters and I say, I mean, the legend of the club and I set the agenda for the midfielders who meet him modern area Chelsea there. I don't know. But so we'll check it between Michael Essien and N'Golo Kante comparison Momodi Koso or social media. I think say honestly, I'm not just being a Ghanaian thing I can be the Michael Essien. But to me, and per my perspective, if I should pick between N'Golo Kante and then Michael Essien, I will pick Michael Essien over N'Golo Kante on any day.
Reason they say.
DIABY, we are talking about those times within Chelsea Football Club. So we share the midfielders in our Chelsea. They were having quality, not just quality, almost top quality midfielders within Chelsea Football Club. And it got a moment in time. Now, I say the first 11 from the goalkeeper into the striker. Now, I so could be a national team, will be to make captain the national team and we find Michael Essien that he was playing in day out and day in most of the seasons. I know we see Academy Chelsea Football Club. In 2005, when he was moving from Lyon, by the side of Chelsea, at that time in Lyon in 2005, Lyon had Ligue 1, and then they were able to give him French Player of the Year award. He was being awarded in that particular year. So we'll check the Ballon d'Or pulled the Timothy, and the best moment to Timothy was the 22nd position. Timothy the year as a Ghanaian player. Now, at the time of Chelsea Football Club, checking the number of class of midfielders are Michael Essien be me two or more in the midfield of Chelsea Football Club. The side of Claudio Makelele. Those times, Nasiya will be a best defensive midfielder in the world. Now nobody comes close to Claudio Makelele. At the time of Real Madrid Football Club, or making sure that Madrid edge the La Liga, edge Copa del Rey, edge the UEFA Champions League. In fact, at the time of Madrid about Chelsea, it took Madrid so many years to get his replacement. Almost about 5 solid midfielders in the Madrid for Conformo, but they were not able to function effectively of how Claudio Makelele was able to do that particular job for Real Madrid Football Club. So check it, the last time, now Madrid really the La Decima, and the time when Claudio Makelele was part of Real Madrid Football Club, or the UEFA Champions League. In that, how good that player was. But when he came to Chelsea, in 2005-2006, Jose Mourinho got to a brand defense of Michael Essien freely under the bar Chelsea Football Club. Now, quickly, he became part of the starting 11 for Chelsea Football Club, and then he was busting the midfield. Checking the class of Frank Lampard. Checking the Kwano Nufi Barcelona at that time. What ball with Ronaldinho in Barcelona? One making sure so with Xavi Iniesta within that particular midfield, or actually the 2006 UEFA Champions League. When he was coming to Chelsea, he was a class of its own. Checking the side of Michael Ballack at the time of Bayern Munich, ever Chelsea Football Club. These were guys and not Michael Essien was competing with them. And at any moment in time, so we bomb most of the big matches. Not the one for Michael Essien and one field in the central midfield of Chelsea. I can say a Tory not Chelsea in Finch who had a lot of loopy holes within the central midfield. And then he was also excelling in big games for Chelsea. At the time of Chelsea, ever big games matches in the English Premiership, in the Carabao Cup, in the FA Cup competition, in the UEFA Champions League. All of these competitions, when you see Michael Essien rising in the midfield, or containing Frank Lampard, Michael Ballack, and other top midfielder within Chelsea Football Club, Frank Lampard are all shining, Michael Ballack are all shining, but you see a certain Michael Essien who rise up to that particular occasion, checking this kind of back-to-back midfield pro or ball against Liverpool Football Club in the UEFA Champions League. How he was able to score most of the wonderful goals against Barcelona in the UEFA Champions semi-final. Now most of us thought that was saying he win the Puskas Award. Checking the number of goals was shared against Arsenal. That kind of iconic goal was shared against Arsenal. Currently remaining one of the greatest goaler midfielder, deep line midfielder within Chelsea Football Club. It's much than my Chelsea Football Club. I'm not saying N'Golo Kante any idea. N'Golo Kante is a complete midfielder. In fact, Ubetimia Bono as a deep line playmaker. Ubetima Bono as a box-to-box midfielder. Sometimes Ubetimia Bono Amana Kwenimu as an offensive neutralizer. But we are talking about a typical Bison, a typical Michael Essien. He was able to make sure that in the class of these element players within Chelsea, of Fiorentino, and then he was able to give a standard performance. N'Golo Kante the time no ball in the midfield no ball at the Chelsea Football Club. Nafa compare those times Michael Essien class of midfielders are no which name them at the side of Chelsea Football Club. You could easily imagine say at that time, say N'Golo Kante, ewo into the midfield of Michael Ballack, ewo Frank Lampard, ewo Deco, Mikel Obi and Claudio Maclella. There's no way. And N'Golo Kante beat me about Chelsea Football Club. We are talking about Michael Essien. DIABY. During those times, no, African players who were saying no command the first 11 in most of their football clubs. Those times in the English Premiership. Sawo Kasa de Afa Imoro Adebayo, Sawo Kasa de Afa Yaya Toure Hon, Sawo Kasa de Afa Michael Essien Juan. Name them. Few African players were busting the first 11 in most of their reputable clubs no Musiakan in their main traditional clubs in abroad. We are talking about Michael Essien. I'm not saying N'Golo Kante Enyadie. He is a good player by all standards, but ABA, the nationality wise, and where he played, ABA helped him in having that all kind of hype around his football. He's not a bad player, but when you are comparing Michael Essien, comparing N'Golo Kante, I will always choose Michael Essien over N'Golo Kante DIABY, and there's no two ways about that. Michael Essien is better than N'Golo Kante. And now, we saw a beautiful game. Papa friend said, Visa Company, it's a boy. Now, I've always said, this man has been able to learn a lot about Pep Guardiola. How Pep Guardiola was able to coach the side of Bayern Munich Football Club and how he was able to deliver at the moment. And Bayern Munich full here in high expectancy, he delivered. Now, in the last 16 games that Visa Company has played for Bayern Munich, he has been able to have 16 wins, 56 goals that he has scored, and then 11 goals the way to make consider Bayern Munich Football Club. That tells you, say, this man has come to stay, and then he is actually proven. Says, some of the coaches are currently on more form, or more ideology, or more tactical awareness, on top of their game, and they can easily tweak most of their system at any time. Visa Company has shown his class and his prowess against most of these big coaches in this particular season. One thing of Niaje is how he was able to make sure that Obe outclass the tactical nature of Luis Enrique PSG Football Club. Because we know the PSG with Luis Enrique at any moment in time. When you are meeting Luis Enrique, you should expect any tactical change to be with him about at any moment in time. And so your coach now say, game management very poor. You cannot play with PSG class or Benyomo. But Enra, Visa Company showed that particular class against the side of PSG Football Club. Then we saw Real Madrid against the side of Liverpool. Enra, but now we didn't come over say, so what shall Liverpool for a football club now? If only they will have to stop Real Madrid, it means certain people within the setup of Liverpool are one, they should have effective use of the right fullback position. No, make it a good use of their central midfield, and then they block the offensive trait of Real Madrid Football Club, and they were able to do that. Check it, Conor Bradley. So a breaking in between the lines and making sure that Obetimi has stopped Vinicius Jr. from transitioning in the left wing position for Real Madrid Football Club. In the last two games that Conor Bradley against Real Madrid Football Club, he has been able to have good statistics against Real Madrid. 2 games the way against Real Madrid Football Club, 2 clean sheets, 1 assist, 7 tackles, and successful on the side of Conor Bradley. 14 duels won, 4 fouls, and they were winning against the side of Real Madrid Football Club. That tells you, say, whenever you be meeting Real Madrid, he gives a standard performance and a grade A performance. Emma Liverpool, etimi immaculate over Real Madrid Football Club, but into the midfield. So we check it obia otimi bon ho ne homodin. A lot of things the side of Liverpool. It should be a certain Florent Vets for Liverpool. You think Commerce Brighton the ball body man buy for Liverpool, no about Liverpool with the start of this particular season. We've seen just 40%, I said just 30% of Florent Vets the talent and how he has been able to attribute himself in the game management of Arne Slot, the tactical things of field on the field of play. But Enra, this guy was on top of his game, and then he was able to make sure that in terms of offensive traits, he will neutralize, create a lot of superiority method in attacking for it, and make sure to be balancing home with a lot of passes and a lot of goals to be creating anymore. And then he did that to that particular exception. Most chances created, he had 5 chances created in attacking for it. 86 passing accuracy. And no yet at the 2 anymore the other side of Liverpool. 100 100 successful take-ons. And with me, the side of Liverpool. 4 out of 8 ground duels won, 5 touches in the opposition box, and 2 defensive contributions. That tells you, say, this guy is gradually improving. Say, and it's slow to me improving. Now, so unya that kind of face as I be alone in the bio for Liverpool. Now, I tell you, that Dominic Soboslai, that Grant Gravenberch, that's, born in the last season, we will have 2 times of this particular talent in attacking side of Liverpool. So Liverpool, Peja, that's what more anymore. I expect Florent Vert to also shine at that particular level.
Okay. But I'll say, Maestro, no. Have you read that matches and I'm in Ninkomo or